This is a Rogue Media Network podcast.
Boobies.
Hi,
Hello.
and welcome to
Boobies.
Boobies.
That's right. We are your hosts. I'm Caitlin.
And I'm Joshua.
And we're here to talk about more scary things.
More death and doom
So much death.
surrounding us at every moment,
That's right. I was,
every day.
what was it? Oh, I was trying to take my medicine earlier and I dropped like one of the pills on the ground.
Oh no.
And then I was like, oh no. What if
It's
I like hit my
happening.
head and I come back up and, or like choke on something? I don't know. But I picked it up and then I always put my pills in like my pill cap and then like just take all of them at once, you know?
Yeah.
And then I spilled all of them on me and then like started laughing though and
Yeah.
like almost choked
I mean,
on the
what
water.
else can you do in the moment?
And I was like, I'm gonna die.
You don't laugh, you cry.
That's right.
Aw.
I'm cramping so
Sorry.
bad.
Well, we're going to get you through this. We're going to cramp it out together. Do you want to squeeze me or pinch me anytime you cramp? We'll get a fist bump. There we go.
I can't pinch with my stupid nails.
You can't, because they're so. Try to pinch me.
They're bad nails. They weren't what I wanted, so I'm really
Wow.
sad.
You need to get some with some points. What are those called?
Like
I'm going to call them the
stiletto.
devil's point.
Devil's Point.
And today, what are we talking about?
Final Destination
Two
2,
Dose. The
2003.
second installment in the Final Destination series.
That's right. Directed by David R. Ellis, who was one of the directors on the first one,
Yeah.
but not the other people.
Nope. So it's just him helming it by himself.
It had a budget of 26 million.
Million? Wow. Yeah, okay. I mean, that
That's
seems
so
like that's
much
a really
money.
high budget. Yeah.
I know.
You know the new movie Megan?
Yeah.
It only had a budget of 12 million,
Oh,
and it's made so much money.
okay.
It's making
That
a lot of
movie
money.
looks so stupid.
I want to see it.
I was intrigued,
I don't think
but
that
also
it's like gonna be.
I don't think it's going to be great.
Well, I
it
think
looks like
it's
it's going to be bad.
No, I think it's because it's more of it's like a comedy.
It is a comedy?
Horror
Okay.
comedy. Yeah.
There's been some people who have reached out to me and they were like, "Don't watch this," and I was like, "Okay." But then like the first time I saw the trailer, I don't remember what I think it was just
Yeah.
like an ad on something, and I was like,
It's a little gimmicky. It's almost like it's like. It's a doll.
Does
We've
she go
seen that
rogue
before.
and, like, kill
obviously
people?
it's
Okay.
obviously that's the whole story.
or
but
take over the
yeah.
kid's life.
it's got Allison Williams from Get Out
Mm-hmm.
and all those other scary movies. So yeah. But I
Oh,
want to
what was
see
that?
it. Maybe
What's
we'll
that
cover
one?
it in the future if
With
I
her-
convince you to watch
The
it.
Perfection.
The Perfectionist? The Perfection? Yeah, I know. The Perfection.
Perfection
Yeah,
or
I think it's
something?
Perfection. Yeah. I haven't seen it, but I know
Oh,
which one
it's
you're
good.
talking
I
about.
like that one.
Yeah?
We should cover that someday.
Okay. We'll
It
put
was
it on
really
the
good.
list.
The list.
Is that
Listener
Caitlin's
request?
Listener request.
No, I think if I had to do one, it'd be Psycho,
Psycho. Yeah.
because we
that's
haven't
a
covered
classic.
that, and that is
Feel
one of
like-
my faves.
Mm-hmm. That seems like almost a gem too. Like
And I like the
we're
remake.
holding out for it. Oh,
Like with,
I haven't seen the remake.
Oh, yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty good.
Okay.
I thought. I don't know. I'm not a professional.
When did who's in the remake?
Vince Vaughn.
It's Vaughn. Okay, gotcha. Really?
Yeah.
What year was that? While back.
2005. I don't know.
Okay.
Let's like googly it. But this one came out in 2003. We said that.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's
a continuation in what's happened already from the first movie, so it's not like it's a whole different story or anything. We're continuing on the legacy of what happened in Flight 180 and Alex and the rest of those characters.
they did a good job of tying everything in. I thought.
I thought so too.
1998.
Okay. She said 2005.
Yeah, I was just guessing.
I was like, I don't remember that. I feel like, that was 06. Vince Vaughn, he was in that big movie with, I was about to say Jessica Simpson. That's not even close to who that person, Jennifer Aniston, the breakup.
Oh,
I just remember because my sister was in Paris at the time studying abroad, and for some reason they watched that movie, but like in French over there.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
When I went,
And she's like, I remember just her specifically calling us out and being like, "Oh yeah, we watched this like like the movie, but it was in French."
so
it was pretty cool.
enlightened.
She obviously was like, I didn't even, she
I had no clue what the fuck was going on. They don't put subtitles on the French theater. That's funny. Yeah, whenever I went to Europe, we watched a lot of movies, but I think it was just because we went for like 2 weeks and then we went to Ireland, but we were kind of like out of money by that point.
Yeah.
And so to pass some time, we would just watch. I think we watched like one of the X-Men's.
Like in the theaters there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then it's in that language?
Well, we were in Ireland, so it was in English.
It's in English. Oh, okay, gotcha. I don't know.
Yeah, I've not
so
traveled to a country where the language was not English because I'm afraid of not being able to communicate.
Oh, you should do it though. Push yourself out of your comfort
Yeah.
zone. Do it.
I think I would want to know at least a little bit.
Well, they got apps for that, and then a little
That's
book.
true. I think eventually
as long as
will
you
go
like
to
kind
France.
of, get some basics, you could get by.
Yeah.
And there's people there that I'm sure would speak English and
I just never want to assume though. Now in some parts of Ireland they do speak Gaelic, and so that was cool.
What is that?
It's like Old Irish.
Oh, but is it still?
Like
it's not English though.
No,
like it doesn't. Okay, I gotcha.
No, it is definitely not English.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
they were. Whenever we went out to like the cliffs of Moher and stuff, they were. A lot of it was very rural towns on the way out, and most everyone spoke Gaelic.
Gotcha.
But of course, like I was on a tour bus, so
Gaelic. I like that's like a cool name.
Gay.
Come here, Gaelic. Never mind. I just said it out loud. Never mind. For like a lizard, but it's pronounced more Gaelic.
Gaelic. Gecko.
Gaelic, the gecko. All right, so we started in the movie and we're already getting a reminder of what happened in Final Destination 1 with
I know they do it really. You could not watch the first one and be fine.
I mean, no, you couldn't.
Well, but they do a good job of
here's the
recapping
thing.
everything.
I watched this movie back in the day for the first time before I had ever seen, and I know I saw this probably a couple times before I had ever seen the first one.
Oh, really?
So I had I seen the second and third one way before I ever saw the first one.
I actually think I did too. But I feel like each of them do a good job of kind of explaining what's going on. And like this one, I mean, they're kind of telling you, like we're starting with the news report of the Flight 180 crash on the year anniversary. And eventually, I mean, now you might not realize it till halfway through the movie.
They're even more connected.
Yeah. And like how
intertwined.
The exactly how everything's unfolding. But I feel like you get a good basic idea from the start again that you avoid death comes after you.
Doesn't stop. It's a cycle. Your
Can't
debts
escape it.
must be paid.
That's right.
And so we're just getting all that flashback. We're getting kind of a like a conspiracy talk show, or maybe just a news segment where this guy
I thought
is
it was
on
Alex on there at first.
Oh, really?
Because you only hear the voice.
Yeah.
And I don't think they said a name.
No, not at first.
Not at first. Eventually they do.
Yeah, and then like you see the people there.
And then I was like,
that's
Alex.
Not him. Yeah, but
and we find out that Alex eventually dies.
Oh yeah, everybody. Yeah, except for Clear. But he's explaining basically how like death is all around us at all times, and we have to be weary of death at all times, and our number is already punched, and we're just basically on our way to that that
predetermined.
Yeah. And
it very much is on par with what Alex was preaching in the first one, or what he eventually comes to learn.
The news guy is like skeptical, of course, as most people are. Yeah, I feel like most people, especially when faced with mortality, nobody likes to think about mortality.
That's true.
And everybody also has their own ideas, and there's a lot of other things that tie into that as well, like religion and people's beliefs and that. But yeah. It's just basic. I just remember taking about it. He's like, some people call it the devil, some people call it this and that, but he's just like, it's just death itself, and it's around us 24/7, working its grand design. And we're all just kind of like the wheels in the machine.
We are
essentially
just little puppets.
Mm-hmm.
Her room had some really cool
with the credits
stuff
going over.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I liked a lot of the stuff in her room. She also has a puppet that one of the puppets that she had in her room is
Want one? It's
I've been trying to get one of them. Now a little older version, but those puppets are fucking expensive.
I bet.
Like upwards, some of them are like upwards of 2,000. They're like shadow puppets. So they're like actual puppets, but you
like the
perform
marionette ones?
Kind of. They're like on a stick and they have like little things that move their arms.
Yeah.
But they're like Indonesian like shadow puppets. And then so like you put shadows on the wall. This one was a full version, so I think it could also be pictures, but then there's some that are like basically like a die cut and they're really cool. Anyways, they cost a lot of money. And she had one and I was like, damn.
I'm going to put it on your Christmas list.
Yeah.
Okay. For 2025.
Yeah. I was like, we're going to have to save up for a long time. No, there's some that are affordable, but they're like $70, which is a lot for a puppet.
I mean, that's still...
But some can get, if they're really, really old ones.
$70 is $70.
And yeah, that's a lot of money.
It's more than 45. 45 is like my cap of like sometimes of doing things. I don't know why, especially like on Amazon. If it's like, it's just $45 or below, I'm like, okay, 40. Like, by the time I hit that like 51, 53, 43 after tax, I'm like, yeah, maybe I don't need it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or I try to find a cheaper something. But anyways, we also have him saying like Alex, he brings up Alex specifically is saying how he screwed up Death's plan. And then we do hear like I heard a voice call Kimberly's name and she wakes up out of her sleep.
Yes. Yeah.
To listening to that segment on TV.
And while just kind of like the first one, whenever we were flashing through Alex's room, we got the like plane ticket and the passport and like travel guides for Italy. Yeah. We saw road trip, like notebook to Daytona Beach and stuff like that. So we got this idea that, we're going on a road trip this time to Daytona Beach. It's like, this is their thesis and like the paragraph. This is their intro paragraph. And they just really spell it all out for you. And then they're going to get into the meat of the story and break it down for you later. And
watching the other movies, it's kind of like a pattern that they follow. It's like I don't know, I'm having a mouth vomit, but kind of like the study plan that Final Destination has. And we have this amount of people that survive. We have this happen.
It's a formula.
There you go. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's a formula.
But as she wakes up, like you said, she then like makes eye contact with the TV and basically it pans in on that man's face. And he's saying, in the end, no one can escape death. And today may be your day to die.
Dun, dun, dun.
Very ominous.
Yeah. I mean, you never know. That's weird.
That's Yeah, I don't like to think about it. Scary.
Something could fall through the ceiling right now and just kill us.
I know when Alex,
or my body could just give out. When we find out
Alex's death and he got hit in the head with a brick.
Yeah,
it's like,
wow.
Damn.
Well, because he was probably doing so good of avoiding it. Death was just trying to use the smallest thing to get to him.
It had said like I think in the article that he hadn't like gone outside for 3 months, and then he like walked outside and got hit in the head with a brick. It's like Billy Mays.
That's all it takes. Honestly.
He got hit in the head with a suitcase, but I also think he did a lot of cocaine.
I don't know that story.
I'm not sure if that's true.
Yeah, I think
it is. It is. Okay.
Like on an airplane, or how did he get hit with it?
Yeah, luggage shifted and it bumped him on the head.
Just the right way and just took the lights out?
Yeah, I think, he had like some other shit that...
Billy Mays, he's a football person, right?
No, OxyClean.
OxyClean. Oh,
Billy Mays.
Not the OxyClean, man.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember those
very
infomercials.
Final Destination death.
Oh, R.I.P. man.
Yeah, he's been dead for a very long time, Josh.
Oh, man. What year was that?
When did he die?
Oh, we'll find out.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I didn't know that. I honestly didn't know that he was dead.
2008? 9. 2009.
Dang. That was such a long time ago. Yeah, I remember his infomercials.
Yeah.
He seemed like a really nice guy. Honestly, I don't know much about him, but just from those infomercials.
You would be his friend.
I think I would be his friend. I'd vote for him.
You do coke with him.
I would. And so we have then something, why did I put thump? We hear a noise because it's something whacks. It's the branches, right? They whack the window. Then she's like, oh my gosh, she kind of gets shaken from getting in this trance of watching the news segment.
She also had a really big spider on her bed. I'm sorry. Yeah. Do you remember that? She was like sleeping and then there was a spider on her bed. And I was like, ugh, why is it there?
Did I not see that? Maybe I did, but
I'm just afraid of spiders.
yeah,
So
it probably popped out. No, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things that are, death is already brewing. You can tell.
Ominous. Everything is very like
It's trying to evoke in you.
spooky.
Yeah, like something's bad is about to happen. It's just like how the first one did. And then so we flash to it's the next day, and we have Dad talking to Kimberly, and he's basically going over the checklist, everything that she needs before the trip. He's trying to be that protective and just cautious dad, making sure that they're ready to go so there's no accidents, because he obviously doesn't want her to die. And like then we have parents. Her friend come up, and she's just like
says the most fucking awkward, like, how could you just say that to someone's
obnoxious
dad?
Yeah.
Ew.
It's just obnoxious.
What does she say?
She's
she
like,
says,
because he's like trying to like, you have this, that, and she's like, condoms,
whips, chains.
Yeah. And then whenever she gets in the car and she's like, can you hurry, Kimberly? Can we go pick up the boys? I'm getting horny.
Yeah. I was like, oh my God.
I was like, that's so, and I
Cringe.
think I can tell they're college students, right? They have to be, okay.
I'm guessing so, because
There's
it feels
no way else.
It gives very spring break.
Yeah. Okay.
Trip.
Got it.
Although I do not know the time of year.
I don't either. I don't
It's
ever
New
know
York.
that we
But
ever
if it was
get.
spring break, that would make sense for, it looked a little chilly.
Because we don't ever get a date of time, and it has to be summer. It's summer because Flight 180 was a summer trip.
Oh, summer trip.
Right?
Okay.
And so...
Yeah, I didn't know.
And then it happens a whole year later. It's the next summer.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. And so we
It
have...
could still be
which
chilly
this
in New
happens a
York.
whole year after...
to the day.
The whole Flight 180, which means only 6 months earlier was the day that Carter died, because we know that he died 6 months later.
Because, they had gone to Paris 6 months, which was
That's
just
crazy.
still bizarre to me.
And then
How in the world they could
that
get on a
means that
plane.
Alex, I feel like, was hiding for 3 months. So that means 9 months away. So this was, they're like literally.
He died like 2 months ago.
Yeah, literally. That's
Yeah.
crazy. And so anyways, so we do, and Claire's been just hiding that whole time. We have them hitting the road. After they pull away though, we do see that Dad notices that they have a leak of transmission fluid that's in the driveway.
And is transmission fluid typically red?
I don't know.
I don't know. It looked like blood. Looked like straight up blood. I was like, that's a bad omen. That's bad.
I don't know. Some of them are like translucent and some of them are black, and then some of them are like, I think I've seen a red type of fluid in a car before.
Yeah, I mean, I know oil is like a burgundy, like brownish.
It's more brown.
Yeah.
But it gets
it's
really
definitely
dark
got
after
a red
it's
tint whenever you like spread it thin.
Yeah.
But that was like,
that's whenever you first put the oil in.
that was like candy apple red.
Yeah.
On the ground.
But it's probably is, I don't know. All of our mechanics out there, please let us know.
Yeah.
Was
only know how
it
to change
transmission
oil.
fluid? And so we do have them getting on the road. They're it cuts to her like hitting a hard brake, and that's whenever we do have this homeless woman like just put her hands on the windshield.
Very
I'm like, that's
aggressively
weird.
would scare me.
Yeah, obviously, yeah. And
I
then,
have
like,
had
her
I have
cans
had that
just
happen.
break. Oh,
well,
really?
people knock on my window
Yeah.
a lot in the car, which does scare me because like most of the time it's like right as I parked in a parking lot, and then I'm like reaching to the side of me to get my bag or something, so my head is like turned away from the window, and then they're like pop 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 pop, and I'm like,
hey, what does that sticker say?
We all know I'm paranoid of everything, so when
they're here to
loud
murder
sounds-
you,
They
Caitlin.
are.
What do you?
Everyone's here to murder
You
me.
never talk to them, right? Or what do? You just
I
like
go,
hello,
Oh yeah, I roll down my window.
like a little bit.
Yeah, and I'm like, yes.
And what do they want? Like $1?
Yeah,
Change.
but I never have cash. So,
Mm-hmm.
but then now a lot of the times they're like, well, I take Venmo. I'm like, oh,
They're getting up with the games, but
They
then
are.
it's like you have to have a phone.
yeah.
How are you paying for this phone?
I
What are you
know.
doing this? But you know what? Hey,
Long
you,
spiral.
you can't be mad at the hustle, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I
You
always
know.
just say like, yeah.
But just like anything else.
you might have more in your bank account than I do.
But essentially at that point, just like anything else, I mean, you choose whether you want to give or not. That's not like you're not like a customer and you already bought a service and then you owe
I'm
them
just
money.
so
Yeah.
awkward at saying no.
It's I mean, I feel that it's hard
Like,
sometimes. And
These nails,
But,
I
you know.
hated them the whole time as they were getting done, and then I still paid $160 after tip for them, and then I got my car and cried.
well, maybe sometimes you can You should speak up a little
I know,
more.
but I can't.
Yeah. Like in that
I don't want to
situation.
hurt her feelings.
Well, I don't think that, I mean.
Because she always does a great job, but this wasn't what I wanted at all.
Well, next time. Just next time.
These were supposed to be my birthday nails. I'm just a big baby.
They're
It's
really
fine.
cute still.
No.
Let me see.
Don't look too close.
They're cute.
If I show you what they were supposed to look like, you will not think they're as cute.
Aw.
Yeah.
I still like them.
Thanks.
Shout out.
I do have the best nail lady in Waco, but it's just this was a new technique I asked her to do. It was a kind of out there picture that I showed her, and it was a little like not the best. And then I'm
telling you though, from a perspective that's over here, that's not your expectation because you're only that. You have that visual of them because you had an expectation and you didn't get that expectation.
From far away, they look fine.
But I'm telling you, from close, they look great.
Oh.
They look good. They do look cool.
I have thought about messaging her and saying, "Can I please
get another
just go
set?
to straight black?" Even though I only got them done on Sunday.
Can you not do that? Like just paint over it?
Well, not
Is it a
these
special
diamonds.
type of? Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
Gotcha.
I could, but they would just be like weird little bumps.
It's texture. You have
and look a little silly.
What's it called? Yeah, it would be really cute. You could get Braille, like letters, like on there. That'd be cute.
Off.
Yeah.
I don't know Braille. Anyways.
And so we do have.
She's there with her cans.
There with the cans falling out of the bag.
And
the
they're being
boys are laughing at her.
assholes.
Yeah.
So mean.
I feel like they're being college
kids. Yes, they are.
Yeah, little butt faces. And we do have, as soon as that happens, a bus full of jocks, I don't know, just yelling,
high schoolers,
pile up, which
as they enter the on-ramp for this little highway. And yes, pile up is very there are so
bad choice of words.
Many signs
in this movie. Yeah, like the highway to hell starts coming on the radio.
And then all the cars like that, the Evan next, is that his name? The guy who just won the lottery, the first death, Evan Lewis.
I think his name is Evan. So let me tell you real quick. I had a list of names I'd associated with these people before.
Yeah, I
gave them names. Deputy so-and-so is the cop.
Yeah. I have Coke Guy for Rory.
I had Dope Boy.
Okay.
I had Dope Boy.
I think I called Evan. Well, his name was given pretty early.
I gave him Lotto Baby.
Okay, Lotto Baby. I had Businesswoman for Kat. What's her name?
I just gave her Cat, but with like an actual C. Meow. Like cat.
Yeah, I didn't ever know her name until right before she died.
I just remember her saying it. Especially, she said it right on the. Remember when he flicks the little thing into her thing? She says, "This is Cat." Something. Yeah,
I definitely missed that. I was too distracted by the fact that the leaves were way too wet for that to have ignited.
Caught on fire. Yeah.
And
then I did.
I did get Nora's name.
Eugene, I called him Moto Man.
I called him Motorcycle Man.
Because he's on the motorcycle. And I just got Nora, I got her and son, mom and son.
Yeah.
But his name ended up being Tim, I think. Or
Tim,
something like that.
At one point I thought she said Andrew as he was getting crushed.
I only heard it after.
After
whenever she was there in the apartment and they were talking about it, and she was like Tim.
That was when I got what? Eugene's name. I didn't get anyone's name until except for Nora. I think they had said her name at one point
because they didn't really use the names.
No, they didn't. Mm-mm. So it was a little bit hard for me to get everyone's name. But anyways, yes, they're there. All the Lotto Boy's car and the motorcyclist that flashed them.
Man. Oh, yeah, that's right. With the titties, the boobies.
Yeah, they are all covered in, that car has flames going up it. Both of their clothing on the motorcycle has flames on it, and I think the motorcycle might as well. So there's just a lot of flame imagery happening as well.
There's so much going on in terms of the visuals and the song cues.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then at one point she does flip after. I think it's either before or after the Highway to Hell. It's that there's a candlelight vigil happening. It's a news segment about Flight 180, about the 1 year anniversary.
Before it, and she flipped because she was, I guess, I don't know, just didn't want to hear that.
Yeah.
Then Highway to Hell came on. Yeah. And then of course they're driving, and the boys have lit up
spliff, some pot, some marijuana.
Mary Jane.
Can we say that? Yeah, I'm just kidding.
What?
And then we have
the weeds. Chris, is that a weeds?
Is that a weed? I'm calling 911.
I'm calling the police.
Hello? And so
X-Files.
oh, it
That
is
is the
perfect time
X-Files
for the
theme song.
X-Files. We have them, and that's whenever they're like, oh, it's a cop, and they see a cop in the background, which happens to be Deputy so-and-so, but his name's Officer...
I'm going to be honest, I don't know.
I heard it at one point, and I know I heard it, but I kept calling him Deputy so-and-so. Officer Burke. Officer Burke. It's Burke. And so that's whenever we do see that she almost hits she almost hits the log truck because she's going to switch lanes, and so it's kind of like already like a what's that called, a flash forward, not a flash forward, but a foreshadowing. Foreshadowing of what's about to happen, because we do see the log truck. It goes up ahead of her.
Yeah, they barely miss it.
Yeah, they do
too.
So you're already thinking like, dang, something's about to happen, but it doesn't happen yet.
Had they not gotten distracted by the cops, they probably could have avoided it and gotten in front.
That's true.
Because they were probably like, oh God, there's a cop. We're going to slow down a bit. Make sure we're not speeding. So that way there is no reason for us to be pulled over. Yeah. And then, of course, flicking the
spliff
out the window is like...
the joint and it landing in her windshield. That's pretty douchey.
And it's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
Too.
Oh, that's true.
Like, maybe just play it cool and I don't know.
Especially
if you had more weed on you too. Also, I'm sorry, bro, you're going to smell like it.
Yeah.
If you got pulled over, you're already fucked. It's fresh.
I think there was a way to have maybe not thrown it out the vehicle, but let it go out the vehicle, as opposed to doing a whole little flicker in the air, letting it go down the side. Exactly. And then it landed up in Kat's windshield, and then her little leaves started catching on fire. And of course he's looking at her and he's giving her the shush finger, and she looks behind her and she sees the cop and she just gives him a smirk. But I just, like you said earlier, the way that they caught on fire. Yeah,
it was too wet. Everything was wet. That was part of the reason why this crash was so catastrophic, is because
the slick road.
They kept showing the slick road, and then even as once the butt landed there, I was the smoke came up and I was looking at the leaves and I was like, those are very clearly wet leaves.
Yeah,
those would not go up in flames.
And so after that, we do have it's fine. It's fine.
Also, pregnant lady.
Pregnant lady. She's on the road.
Business lady. Beer guy drinking a beer.
Dude, yeah, we have the little kid with the cars crashing them into each other.
And then, of course, one of them is a semi and one is a red truck not an SUV, but yes, looks
very
eerily similar.
And then we have the dope boy, have him doing cocaine or something in the car.
Yeah, cocaine while driving.
Yeah, very wise, right? And then we have
Eugene's motorcycle guy,
and then
going way too fast.
Moto
scary.
Man, doom. And then we have. I just feel like that's
that could be
cool,
a superhero
name. Yeah, Moto Man. He has a motorcycle. That's
he
part
turns
of his gig.
into a motorcycle.
Doom, that'd be cool. Could you imagine?
People.
He just smashes into them, or he could I don't know. There's something you can make with that. He could. Never mind.
What's that?
All right.
Ghost Rider.
That's Ghost Rider. Oh yeah. And so we have then the cop coming, Deputy so-and-so going by, I think Rory is what it ended up being his name. And then we have...
Rory is coke guy.
Yeah. And we do have him spilling his coffee. And then this is when everything happens.
And that's when the logs fall.
It just turns into a disaster.
Everyone gets fucked. It was so... even knowing that it was going to happen, just watching all of it, I was like... No.
Yeah. Whenever the Officer Burke gets hit with that first log and you just see all that blood come through the black windshield.
Yeah,
so much
good.
blood.
Yeah, but there was so much blood.
Yeah. And then we had we have him dying first, and then we had Eugene on the motorcycle dying. One just sliding to his death and getting pinned by his own motorcycle.
Yeah, and it chops him in half.
Yeah. And then I think even then there's an explosion, right? Or something hits him. Yeah. I
think another truck comes and runs into him. And
we have Coke Boy just flipping, I believe.
Yeah, there was so much. It was so much happening so fast.
He's flipping. Cat ends up hitting into another truck and crashing and exploding. We have Nora and Tim. He drops a water bottle that he was playing with earlier, and then it goes behind her brake, so she can't brake. And have you ever had that happen? No.
I have.
That's scary.
Not like in a situation where
So intense, yeah.
it was like
But like
that.
just a regular driving moment.
Yeah, it had fallen down and it like got.
And you're like, no.
Yeah, and I was trying to grab
end up
it.
like them.
Yeah, and so it just now I'm like thankful that. But then I have a lot of the times I have my like gallon water jug with me, very obnoxious. But a lot of the times I'll be driving and then this thing's so fucking gigantic that I like low-key have to buckle it up. Well, it doesn't fall underneath my feet, but it does fall. Huge. And then sometimes, like I might not have, like the other day I left the lid like this and didn't actually screw it on. So it like fell over and I was like, oh fuck, trying to get it while driving.
Oh God. I can see it all over the road. It happens. It happens to the best of us, and it happened to Deputy so-and-so. And so after Kat and Nora and the son, we have the lotto guy, Evan. He ends up crashing into a truck and he's burning alive as Kimberly's watching him. He's screaming for help.
Oh, and because their car went up and it just flipped.
Rolled.
Of course, Kimberly was the only one who put her seatbelt on. She put it on, and then the rest of them were just kind of not. And
the rest of them were so nonchalant.
The sky roof, what is that called? The sunroof?
Sunroof, yeah.
Open.
It was open.
And as the car was flipping, Shayna, I guess was her name. I called her Blondie at first. Her friend, her head was out of the sunroof.
Yeah.
You could see her blonde. You could see her full head as it was flipping.
Going through it, yeah.
And then she ended up in the back seat with the boys.
Yeah.
And somehow she was still alive.
Just kind of barely
before they got
on.
hit. Yeah. Because then Kimberly sat there upside down and she is alive because she buckled up. And she's watching Evan burn to death, Lotto Boy.
And then we got that semi coming through him, killing him instantly. And it comes straight for Kimberly. And as soon as that, she comes right of that into real life. She's out of the premonition.
And we're back in the real time.
Yes. And so she's out of the premonition. She ends up kind of coming to, and immediately she's telling her friends, there's going to be an accident. We're all going to die. We're doomed. She's kind of freaking out because she's kind of noticing the same signs that
the can
happened in the
right
premonition.
there.
Yeah. She sees the truck with the pile up kids going by. She checks the radio station. She hears the Highway to Hell.
Highway to Hell. And then it plays.
And even her friend at this point is kind of like, what's going on, Kimberly? And she's trying to tell them what she just saw in her premonition. So she ends up blocking the on-ramp so that no one else can get on. And so of course everybody's like, what the hell is going on? To where we have Officer Burke coming up, Deputy so-and-so. He's going up there to talk to her. And of course her friends are like, oh, well, crap. Now you got the cops coming.
Yeah.
And so
I was really surprised he didn't ask her to move the car first.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It seems like a hazard.
Yeah. And instead of just being like, ma'am, will you step out of the car? I would have been like,
can
hey,
you pull over
here to the side so
and
that
we'll
way all
deal
these
with this
people can
over
go
here.
through?
Yeah.
Of course, she would have said no.
Yeah.
But I guess to avoid that fight, they took that part out.
But he's got her out there, right? And so she's trying to explain to him what she saw, what's happening. And just like in the other movie, we have an accident happen right next to them.
And of course, also everyone was getting out of their cars.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Why are you getting out of your car? Just stay in your fucking car.
Just wait patiently.
I was just like, sit the fuck down, people.
Yeah.
Come on.
Because really, what could they have done?
Yeah.
In a situation like that. And so,
I mean, unless they were going to jumpstart her car. But then I feel like the officer would have been like, hey, anyone got some jumper cables?
Yeah.
Or something. I don't know.
He would have asked for help if he needed help or something. Other than that, probably best to stay in the car.
Yeah.
And so we do have that all happening. And so she explained it. And of course the accident happens and they're all like, what the hell? What's happening? What's going on?
Ooh,
and then
she
sees
the sign.
The 180 sign. Yeah.
It said careful or something the next 180 feet. And I was like, and the 180 comes in a lot because like that crash at the Goodings or whatever happens, that farm happens at mile marker 180 as well.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. And so we do have Officer
turn
Burke.
your life around. Gotta do a 180.
You do. And then Officer Burke ends up saving Kimberly because we have a truck coming by and smashing right into her friend's vehicle, or her vehicle with her friends in it.
Yeah.
So they did.
Which was confusing because it was like, oh fuck, why did they still die?
And
which of course we get that explanation later, but it was like, I was a little shocked seeing that. I was like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
Okay, they're all dead still. That really fucking sucks.
It's really sucky.
Like, and then of course I was also thinking, it had been a long time. I think I've actually maybe only seen this movie once.
Okay.
So I had forgotten
that they all died?
All of the deaths.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Like, I had forgotten basically everything. This was like a fresh watch for me. And because I definitely knew the logging truck thing, and I do remember the dentist office scene. I remember that. But most of the other deaths didn't really stick with me, I guess. And so it was very fresh. And then, but going
the elevator scene
based off. Oh yeah. Okay. Actually, JK, I do remember that as well. That one didn't surprise me as much.
Sorry, I'm over here like popping my contacts. If you notice, they're just really dry.
I thought you were just like.
They're really
dry.
They are really dry. No, it gets dry
like,
sometimes.
I do that when my eyelashes get twisted sometimes. But so whenever they died first, just going based off of the formula of the first one, I was like, oh, what? And then I was thinking like, okay, she saved, them, but then like, how is she going to be connected to these other people?
Yeah.
And I do think it's a little weird that they brought all those people into questioning
for
at the
sure.
police.
Well, and I thought it was actually weird. Why didn't the Lotto boy? Why wasn't he with the other people?
I know he was like behind
on the other side with the detective.
Yeah,
which I thought was weird.
Unless he paid him off.
I didn't understand like why he wasn't also in the interrogation room with everyone else.
Yeah, it was very confusing. But so just based off of that, I was like, oh fuck, they're dead.
Yeah.
Very bizarre. And then that's when we flashed to the police officer.
Oh yeah, for
room,
sure. And they're kidding.
What is it called?
Police
station.
The police station, and an interrogation room, in essence, or like an office room. And of course, kind of like the first one, they're getting interrogated, or not necessarily interrogated, but more just kind of like sequestered for questioning.
Like, hey, what's happening?
Yeah, just to kind of understand.
Probably also making sure that everyone wasn't in shock and stuff like that too, because that was a very wild
traumatic
event.
Thing to go through.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that they didn't go through because Kimberly saved them.
And then that's when like that other cop guy who's not Officer Burke was saying that like this kid's the luckiest kid in the fucking world. Like he won the lotto yesterday and then now he just survived this catastrophic event. So and he was like, I wish I could be like as unlucky as him.
Yeah.
And so that was how we found out that he had won the
lottery.
But it was, again, so weird that he wasn't in there. I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't
Whatever.
know.
I think he paid him off.
That's the story.
Money
makes the world go round.
That's right.
And it buys off death. Or so we thought. And so we have...
get you out of trouble.
Kimberly's talking to everybody about her premonition because she was asked by Officer Burke. Officer Burke what had happened, and so she's kind of explaining to them in the most calm but sounding like a crazy lady way of do y'all remember hearing about Flight 180 and that kid who had the premonition? Well, it happened to me. And of course we have Eugene who's being skeptical, and he's explaining kind of essentially what all happened in the first movie.
Yeah, he like perfectly
recapped it.
This was the spark notes of Final Destination.
Yep. And then he's also he's very skeptical about the whole thing. He's kind of mocking, and at this point we do also understand that Clear Rivers is in a padded institution.
And Stony Brook Institution.
She's in the institution. And that's when we also understand that Oh yeah, and also
everyone's just saying like, no,
yeah, nobody.
we don't believe you, of course, because
everybody thinks she's weird.
Yeah,
that's a weird girl.
Even though after this happened like once, and then we realized that because it was pretty common knowledge that everyone had started dying in freak accidents. Like they were going through it and showing, like at one point, at one point they showed like Terry's body after being hit by that bus, and I was like, oh God. They just showed us a picture of Terry's corpse, and it was pretty fucked up. It was. Ugh.
No, I feel that. I
feel like maybe it
was too much of a far fetch for them.
It is very far fetched.
Yeah.
But I feel like at least, Officer Burke believed her.
Yeah.
Enough. But he could have just had a crush on her, and then he was just like, I'm gonna get in this.
I mean, also, I guess, when has that ever happened in real life here? Do you get what I mean?
Like, well, no. I get what you mean. I don't think it has.
No. And then like putting ourselves in their universe where they don't have a Final Destination movie. If it started happening now, I'd be like, oh yeah, just like Final Destination.
Yeah.
It's almost like.
But they had an actual real life event though.
That had actually happened.
Base it off of. Like if I knew that something happened where somebody saw a premonition of somebody getting off a plane, and then like they saved it, and then all of those survivors started dying in freak accidents, I feel like I would be a little bit inclined
to listen.
Yeah, to be like, let's hear her out.
Yeah,
let's wait a second.
Let's let her speak.
Yeah, I don't think immediately be like, no, you're crazy.
Yeah,
but of course I also do believe in like a little bit of witchy stuff. So like in premonitions, like
Sabrina.
I've seen the future so many times.
And what?
Oh, I've had dreams where.
Oh, you have? Mm-hmm. Like for real premonitions?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. First off, I get deja vu like all the time. Like things where I'm like, no, this has legitimately already happened to me. And not just like flashes, it's like days, like a whole day. The
exact thing. Mm-hmm. That's crazy.
And then I've also had where one time.
That's wild, not crazy.
My friend, I just get like really real dreams a lot. And I had a time where my friend, I hadn't thought of her in a few years. And I just had this very, very like vivid dream that I was at her wedding kind of thing. And so then I messaged her the next day and I was like, hey, like I hope you and your partner are doing well. And then I was just like, and also, I just like had this really vivid dream that I was at your wedding last night. So I don't know if anything special is coming up, but maybe get your nails done. And then she was like, we're going on a trip tomorrow. And I was like, and then sure enough, he proposed.
Oh, wow.
And then also I had another dream about a friend where she was
murdered. I'm just kidding.
Completing suicide.
Oh, no.
But it wasn't a friend of mine. It was like a friend of a friend.
Yeah.
And so then it was a very real moment. And then I reached out to my friend who knows her and was like, hey, had this real weird dream that was like, felt super real about so-and-so. Can you please just reach out to her? And like, she had just like been admitted into, or like had just gotten out of, I think, a stay after
trying doing that. Yeah. That's crazy.
But I didn't really.
That's wild.
Like,
well, what are you doing? Why aren't you selling your fortune skills?
Well,
premonitions?
It just happens.
It just happens. Yeah.
I have no clue when it's going to happen.
Clairvoyant.
It's just sometimes I'll wake up and I'm like, nope, that was too real. And then my dreams are also just very weird. Like I've had the dreams where it's like 3 layers deep. Where I will wake up, a whole week will pass in my dream. Yeah. And then my dreams are like scary. They used to be like really bad nightmares and stuff. But then they've also been good. Like whenever my grandmother passed, she visited me in a dream.
You're in other dimensions.
And then I also, whenever my grandfather passed, right before before I knew that he did, he also came to me in a dream. And he didn't say anything. He was a real like quiet man. I sat down across the table from him and he just like gave me his weird little like half smirk. And I was like, what's up?
That's cool. That's sweet.
But yeah. And then the next morning I found out. And the same for both of them. I didn't know until the morning.
After?
Yeah. That they had actually passed. And so.
Maybe you have the gift.
I guess. But it's not that strong.
Yeah.
My mom always did say it skips a generation. My grandmother, her mother, was like also very kind of sensitive.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure I could probably be a little bit more if I actually tapped into it.
Yeah.
I don't have the attention span to do so. Or the like willpower.
Well, there's seasons for everything. Maybe it's just not right now.
I love to hear it. But then I also have like a very healthy spoonful of skepticism about everything. And so I'm just like,
well, you're also paranoid that everybody's going to kill you
That's
or
true.
everything.
I have very intense feelings. Nothing is just
It's okay to feel. It's okay to feel. Just like you, Miss Kimberly's feeling very intense feelings because she gets to see her dad. She's reunited with Papa.
Oh, yeah.
Papa comes in
That's
and
kinda really
he's
sad.
like, "Oh my God, my daughter," and she's like, "My dad." And then the other cop is like, "You're all dismissed." And so they do leave, but not before she can give this very longing look at Deputy So and So.
I know. I was like,
It's very save me, rescue me. Something is wrong. We'd have Kimberly talking to her dad. They're at home and she's kind of trying to just be like, I've got a very bad feeling. It's spooky.
trying to see if her mom had any premonitions.
He keeps keeping in like, what? Huh?
Yeah. Like, are you okay?
Huh?
And it's like, sir, believe her.
Yeah. And she's just telling him like, I feel like this is not over. And then we cut to...
this is also where we get the first hint that her mom is dead.
Oh, yeah.
Because at first it could have just been her dad sending her off. Or that,
Mom
they were divorced or something. She was
vacation.
at work. Who knows?
Yeah.
But this was the first time she was like, well, did mom ever have any premonitions and stuff? And it's very like clear that mom has passed. She is no longer on this planet.
R.I.P. Mom.
Yeah. And then of course later we figure out why. But she says it's not over yet.
It's not over. And then we go over to the Lotto Boy, Mr. Evan. He is coming into home. We already have like an almost slip as he's carrying a box full of stuff. I'm assuming that he's been buying since he
had like
has all this
iMac
money
or something in there.
Yeah.
So like, he just spent some dough.
And so he comes in, he's playing his voicemail machine. He's got a lot of messages from all these girls who obviously are just like,
now hitting him
hey, it's been a while, but we heard you won the lottery.
I know we haven't
Congrats.
talked in a year, but
I've been thinking about you lately. And
it's like, bitch,
you
no,
should
you
really
haven't.
call me back. And so he starts cooking some
he needed
cheese
to buy
sticks
a new
on
apartment.
on a pan. Yeah, he does. Which
But
probably was going to be.
The hallway coming up was really cute, though. I would say, like, I would live there. However, I don't think I could live in like a shared community where like people just let their kids leave their toys in the hallway. That was really weird.
Yeah. I'm sure it's in places like that.
Yeah.
It gave more like the home in Hey Arnold.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like where it's like apartments like that where they're on the inside.
See, I'd be afraid. Like if I was that kid, I think I would have been like, no, someone's going to steal all my shit. Yeah.
Or he could be the only kid.
That's true.
Yeah.
But like, what if someone comes off the streets?
Ghost kid.
Steals my toys.
Caitlin.
I've been paranoid since I was a kid.
He's coming for you. And so he's putting cheese sticks on a pan, which I've never seen before, but I guess that's how we do cheese sticks here. And then we do have him getting like kind of a creepy, eerie feeling over him.
Yeah, because he opened his window to fucking throw his spaghetti.
Yeah, that's right.
Out the window.
And that's what does it.
Who disposes of spaghetti that way?
I don't know.
I don't know.
He could have put it down the garbage disposal.
Yeah, or just like the trash.
Yeah, it's true.
But then, like, and as he's going to put the cheese sticks on the pan too, he gets oil in the burner.
Yeah.
And
it's
like,
an open flame type of oven stovetop.
Yeah, it's not a flat
flame.
top
or
electric.
coils. It's like flame.
Yeah,
gas. Yeah,
and even with the coils, you can like I had an oil like
fire.
Yeah, my roommate fried stuff and the oil sticks? Like got under. I think it was like I don't know what it was.
Fish and chips.
But the oil got into the burner and then like so he cleaned around it, but he didn't really know.
Oh no.
And then I was making macaroni and my macaroni went up in flames and I was like, what the hell is happening?
Poor Mac.
I just got my COVID shot. I was so tired. I just wanted mac and cheese and to go to bed. But I almost burned my house down. Anyways.
Everybody's done it. Everybody's almost done it.
My life
I would
is just
say.
Final Destination.
And so we do have all that happening. A magnet falls from the fridge into his noodles that he's gonna reheat in the microwave, which he somehow manages to not see before he puts it in the microwave.
And then also, so on the magnet spelled like hey with an E, it was HEYE. And then the H falls off, leaving EYE. And that's how he gets impaled through his eye. So it was a clue there too.
You're
Like,
right. Yeah.
it's your eyeballs that's gonna get you, bud. But yes, of course, he puts a magnet in the microwave and bloop, 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 and explodes.
And so all that's happening, and then he also is opening like one of the things that he bought, and it's a Rolex or a watch, very nice watch. And he's putting it on, and that's whenever he takes it off, and then he doesn't put it on, right?
He puts it on. Yeah, he's watching it, but then he has a ring
that's
on
right.
that he kind of like pulls off his finger, and he's just looking at it.
He's ogling at it. It falls into the sink, down into the drain.
Disposal
drain. Yes, which is always a fear too. Like anytime I ever go in there to try to clear anything out or something.
Oh, I don't.
Yeah. Oh, I'll stick my hand in there. Mm-mm. I've done it before.
I'm like the moment my hand goes in there, and when the kittens got their stitches removed, or their what is it called when they got spayed?
Yeah.
Fucking Yams was just like, for some reason she was obsessed with the sink, and she kept pulling the garbage disposal cover out and like playing with it around the house, but then the garbage disposal was just right open. There. And I was like, they could accidentally flip this switch, and then my little kitties are gonna get.
One goes in there while the other one's just like.
Yeah. I was so. I was so
crazy.
scared.
What didn't we watch a movie recently where someone puts an animal in a garbage disposal?
Oh, did we? I don't know if it was us.
Oh Lord, me and Robert maybe.
Anyways, though, his hand gets stuck, and I'm not quite sure how, but of course, while it's getting stuck, his oil fire is now officially starting, and the microwave is just like, and then he's like trying to throw a little towel at it to like put the fire out, but of course he knocks everything over, and then now his trash is on fire, and his whole house is going up in flames.
Yep.
And his hand's still stuck. But then he finally gets it undone.
He does.
And he's like, he gets his, what is it? Fire extinguisher.
But it doesn't.
The place is too far gone now.
And it doesn't even really work. Essentially, It's like basically out. So he chunks that. He starts trying to get out, but the windows literally like death is shutting them on him. So he goes and flips a table, gets through the dining room, and he opens up a window, and like he's getting out. But as soon as he gets out and goes down to the next level below him, there's an explosion.
Yeah.
And it kind of just throws him down a little bit. But he's still able to get on that ladder that goes down to the street level, but ends up like when he's coming down, it like ends up falling a little bit, and he falls off of it. Yeah,
it's jammed at first, and so he's kind of like jumping on it to get it to go down, and then it falls down, and he falls off, but then he's like, oh, okay, I'm fine, but then
slips on his spaghetti,
vomit on his sweater.
And that's whenever we do have him landing down, and then that ladder comes right down and stabs him through the eye.
Finally, it gets loose. Ugh, damn. And it's
the way to go.
What a close-up look it was, too.
Yeah.
You really see it go right through his eye. It was pretty cool.
Yep.
That one, the special or practical effects were really good on it. There are some instances in this movie where I thought they were a little comical, especially for 26 milli.
Yeah.
But
the budget.
Yeah.
Like whenever Kat got impaled.
No, I thought that was good.
Oh, okay.
It was Nora's son.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
And then also
the explosion.
Rory.
And I also thought the explosion whenever Clear and Eugene were killed.
Oh, yeah. When you see Claire's face, like,
yeah.
She turns into what's his face from Batman? Harvey Dent. Yeah.
Two-Face.
Yeah.
But we do come to Deputy So-and-So.
I actually reference Batman a lot in here because then whenever pregnant lady almost gives birth in the jail cell, I was like, I was born in the darkness.
The Joker, right?
Bane.
Oh, Bane. Oh, you're right. He was.
Molded by it.
Do you know the rest of the?
No, that's all I know.
He does. That's kind of really spot on. And so we do have Deputy So-and-So looking at Flight 180 info. He's kind of basically looking over what Kimberly was talking about.
This is where we see Terry's body.
Oh, yeah.
And it was good. It was like subtle and small. But man,
you can see it's definitely a bloodbath, like a slaughter.
She was just kind of like this, like
mush.
Yeah, like what's that when you get like a ground beef in a tube? It was like a ground beef with some clothing and hair attached to it.
On
a little
pavement.
smooshied side. Yeah.
Because that bus was going fast, like we said.
Yeah.
Going too fast.
Too fast for
the
city roads.
Speeding ticket. And so we do also have it's switching to Kat. She's on the phone with, I think, her mom. She's talking about the news, and we then like twine with everyone else watching the news of what happened earlier in the day. And we end up with Kimberly. She's behind the couch where her dad's watching, and she sees like her friends getting hit on the footage that they captured earlier in the vehicle, and they just get blazed, dude. And I can't believe they aired that.
I know.
There's people dying.
I know. I was like, oh my God.
It's like legit deaths happening, but it's the movie, I guess. And then we cut to our Coke
Nora.
boy.
Oh yeah, everyone's basically everyone's watching
Mm-hmm.
Evan, the news, and then also seeing that Evan Lewis has died now in a freak accident.
They're all watching that, and I'm sure they're all at this moment freaking out because even
they're all a little bit like, oh.
Right before bed, we have the mom and son having a moment, and Tim is like, hey, you think those people were BSing us, right? And she's like, yeah, they just, some people have some loose wires or something like that.
Yeah. But even though we clearly saw the like, oh shit, flicker across her face whenever she was watching the news. And so I was like, man, you just straight up lied to your son.
And we already have them talking about his dentist appointment for the next day.
Yeah, which I was like, oh. So many, that's such a good like fear to capitalize on. So many people are afraid of the dentist.
Oh, I was when I was younger.
I like going to the dentist. I'm like, clean my teeth, fun.
I didn't like it, but I also went a lot when I was younger, so I had a lot of work done.
Oh yeah,
and like not fun work, like having teeth pulled, crowns, fillings, like just I had really
my teeth are still fucked up. So
which made no sense because they were also they fell out. So I don't even get, like, I have great teeth, I have fine teeth now, but I don't even know. Maybe because I was so afraid of the dentist. But anyways, we have Kimberly. She's now doing her own investigation, looking into Clear Rivers and trying to figure out where she is. She finds where she's at what place she's staying at, and she gets like a Google map because it's back in the day and there's no GPS on your iPhone. Yeah. That's so weird because you would like literally have to like print it out and then just even go off of that. Because it doesn't like as update as you're going.
Yeah.
And
like what if you look at the wrong one?
Or what if you want to change the route? Or what if there's like traffic happening and then you like fucked. You have to just figure it out. It's crazy.
I mean, still so much easier than reading a map.
Yeah.
I remember doing road trips with my, like we would do road trips from North Carolina to California, cross country. And I remember my dad just pulling out these like maps the size of the car, and he'd be like, we're gonna go this way, and I'm like, how the fuck? Like, I would be so lost.
Yeah, navigation, it's a thing.
I would not be able to make it.
Dead.
Yes,
dead.
I would be dead.
Dead. And so she's ends up going to go see Clear. She drives all the way to the institution. She ends up going inside. We already see from the nurse, I don't know what it is, a person who works there telling her that there are no phones, no sharp objects, no necklaces.
You basically need to go in naked.
Yeah, you can't have anything when you go in to see Clear.
How are your nails?
Yeah.
Are they short?
She looks at them. She's like, deems her good to go in. It's like a long padded corridor just to get to her. And she is that's whenever Kimberly asks it, wait, is she dangerous? And she's like, no, she suspects you are.
Yeah.
So she goes in.
We find out she's in voluntary solitude as well. She came here on her own accord, and they don't know.
We'll stay there as long as she wants to.
Yep.
And so she ends up going in there. Already off the bat, we have Clear telling her to just stay like across the room. She doesn't want her to get any closer. And we do see that there are these clippings on the wall that are just taped up. That are, you know, all of the deaths that happened,
red string map,
things that happened in the past movie, her kind of putting everything together. And so we have her and Kimberly talking about, because Clear is like, they told me you're one of the people from that, you know, car accident. And she's like, death's after you, isn't it? And so Kimberly
kind of seemed like she was like low-key mocking her. Clear
She seems like a bitch.
Yeah. I was like, yo, you went through this, so why are you acting unbelieving? And like, why are you kind of being like if somebody's coming to you and saying like, this is happening to me, I'll fucking believe it. Because clearly it has happened to you.
Probably after that part, she's lost, all of her friends are died. Alex has died, who she really loved. So at that point, I don't think she even really cares about anyone else.
Yeah. I mean, Clear, she doesn't. But
she's just trying to stay alive.
Also, I feel like I wouldn't be like mocking her.
Yeah, I don't know.
But like, I still probably would have said that, like, I'm not going to help you. I don't fucking know. I don't understand why it's happening. I can't make you understand.
Yeah. And like, I'm safe in here.
Yeah.
Like the thing that would have to take me out is literally like this whole building exploding or
Yeah.
like something happening like that. I don't know.
But then Kimberly gets her attention by basically saying, my
You're a
friends
coward.
died. Yeah. And
Sorry.
she says, my friends died last in the premonition, not 1st. And yet they still died. And then she said Nora and her kid died. Then it was Evan. And then it was her and her friends. But this time now, basically her friends died. Then Evan. So now Nora and her son are next. And she's like, so tell me, like, what the fuck is going on? And that's when Clear's like, wait, going backwards? What?
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense, kind of thing. And so she kind of like keys in there and she's like, well what the fuck's going on? She's curious. She's got no.
And already from the get-go, she's working it out in her mind. She's saying, well, Death's design now is working backwards. It's trying to close up all the loose ends, that I guess, or not even that. We don't have that far. She's just saying that it's working backwards this time, which is perplexing to her.
And then she basically is like, just save yourself. Like, don't worry about them.
Like, you're lucky. You're now like the last one on the list to go.
And then I was like, yeah, for real. She's telling her to recognize the signs. Like, there's going to be things all around you. Just keep your eyes open and you'll figure it out. But then she also kind of finalizes that statement by saying, like, no, I'm not going to help you any more than this. Like, I'm not leaving this room.
Yeah.
And just,
because Claire brings up Alex and she's like, being out there in the real world ends up like this, you know?
And like, I've already lost people I loved. I couldn't save them. Like, what do you want me to do? Like, just worry about yourself now at this point, basically, because that's what she's doing. Because she says, like, if you're lucky, you'll end up in here like me. But then this is where Kimmy does say, yeah, you're a coward.
She gets sassy.
Yeah.
And I love how she's like
selfish to help
I love how she comes to like ask for her help, and then when she does again, she's like, well, you fuck you, bitch.
Yeah, basically.
And then I love how even like Claire is just like, bye.
In my opinion, you're already dead.
Yeah.
And then she gets out there, flips her off in her little camera. It's so fun. But yeah.
She's feisty. And so Kimberly ends up going back to her house and she ends up running into Officer Burke.
Yeah, because he's there like he's at her doorstep.
Her front door.
And this is where we get the first mention of him cleaning up one of the survivors of the Flight 180 crash.
Doesn't get to quite finish it because they get interrupted.
Yeah.
By none other than Piggins. The way we heard Piggins for a good long time.
It was so funny. I was not expecting that because, like her front door and stuff has the windows on either side. Yeah. So she's got this reflection and then you just see a swarm of pigeons like all around her.
That's
She's
scary.
like, the next ones are going to die by pigeons.
I was like attacked by pigeons.
What?
Literally. I'm like, if I saw that, my thought wouldn't be like they're going to be attacked by pigeons. My thought would be like they're going to be around somewhere where there are pigeons.
There's going to be a lot of pigeons. Something's going to happen. It's going to
around pigeons or like a pigeon will cause it. I would not think they're going to be swarmed by pigeons.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's because even when she says it's them and he's like attacked by pigeons.
Yeah. It's like,
So there, this is whenever we get to Clear. She ends up coming to them.
She's
right?
cutting off her little.
She's looking at news clippings of what happened to Evan, and she's deciding to take back her life. She's coming
to
out.
the rescue, and she comes up to the door or to the car where the mirror conveniently pops down so she can see Clear approaching.
Yeah,
and Clear's like, "Hello." Oh, wait, no, she's not even there yet, is she?
No, I don't think she's there with them yet.
We just see Clear cutting off her thing.
Yeah.
But now we're at
Nora
the
dentist office. Yeah.
Kid, dentist time.
Timmy boy. They're there.
Timmy.
He ends up going into the office with the dude. He makes this little punny thing of like, if my pants are down when I wake up, we're not paying. And he's in there with the dentist, and the dentist is like, asking him questions about his hygiene. He's like, how does your mom know you've been smoking? And even the kid's like, yeah. I'm like, no, she doesn't.
She doesn't know.
We do get a pigeon hitting the window.
Almost
and
busting through the window. Like the glass shattered.
Yeah.
Which I was like, what kind of
pigeons are these? Pigeons, these are some strong
what kind of glass
pigeons.
are you using?
Cheap glass if he has to keep replacing it. That's why.
Yeah. Like especially if I had to replace it once.
Heavy duty.
Be buying some
bulletproof.
temper like real hard proof.
And so
Hardcore glass.
he's trying to give him like some Novocaine or something that's injectable with the needle and stuff, but it's not working out. So he's like, because the pigeons keep hitting the damn window, and he almost keeps stabbing Tim.
Which is, very startling.
Yeah. So he's like, you know what? You're going to get the gas. So we end up having him trying to set up the gas. He's calling his assistant to come in there, but she's not coming in because she is in the little main lobby dealing with a pigeon that flew through the window.
Yeah, and there's just construction noises going on all around.
That's right, yeah.
And so she can't hear because there's this like jackhammer going,
yeah.
And she can't hear anything. And
they
the
don't
fish
notice.
tank water line has already busted, and it's of course going right onto the plug. And so you know that we've got some like live wires, live electrocuted water, basically. Of course, Mom gets up just in time because the pigeon busted through the fucking window in there. And then that's when the dentist man comes out to the lobby, and he's like, what the hell's going on in here?
Yeah.
And the oxygen goes to 0, and the nitrous is left on.
The nitrous oxide, it's like 100. I don't know.
Yeah,
but it's high.
And then this like fucking fake fish, little blowfish,
just falls into his mouth. He starts choking on it.
Yeah, which is like, but that's not what does him in.
No, it's not. No, because thankfully, like the assistant ends up coming in, saving him. They end up leaving, but you know what ends up killing him? Kimberly, because she ends up saying, pigeons!
So he's like, oh, pigeons! And he runs into the fucking flock of them.
Literally, as soon as that, and then even the people are like, watch out, kid. And then we have these pigeons flying up because he chases them away, and they end up hitting the dude who's running the lever with the glass. And
it startles the construction worker guy. And then, so whenever his his body got crushed here by the glass, I think at one point his like intestine, no, I think it was Rory's intestines, but just the way that his body got crushed, I was like,
it was not good.
It wasn't the best.
It wasn't believable,
but it was kind of cool, like how it folded. I was like, okay, but like if a pigeon can break the glass, then this glass falling onto this boy.
But if it's falling from such a fall,
I know, but the glass should have still probably shattered.
Yeah.
Around his body, like, because it didn't shatter until it got to because it flattened him like a pancake.
But if I feel like I don't know. You know what? Physics.
This is probably the stronger glass, not the glass that the pigeons can break through.
I don't know. But either way, the boy is dead. R.I.P. to Timmy Tom. And of course, Nora had to just watch him die. That's crazy. Yeah. That's really sad.
And then this is where we're in the car, and now basically, Kimberly's sitting there, and she's saying like, "I'm so scared," and she's delivered that with the most like deadpan face ever. Did not believe for a second that she was scared.
AJ Cook's performance, I think that's her name. It's not the best.
Yeah, I mean, overall it was pretty good. It was just that was the one moment where I was like, "Girl, you didn't have a flicker of emotion on your face, nothing."
And we do have Claire popping up from behind, and she's like, "I hope you're ready for this."
Yes, and she brings them to Mr. Death, and they're not breaking in this time, but now he's got like this weird underground castle-esque looking morgue. Yeah, and the Officer Burke's like, "Shouldn't we knock?" And she says, he probably already knows we're coming. Which is pretty funny.
And so they go in there, and it's none other, of course, than Mr. Tony Todd from the first movie, the mortician, embalmer guy, and they're there to ask him some questions.
And he's rolling out a body, and it's Evan,
of course,
as we see. Yeah. And he's saying he's kind of cryptic.
He is
with his lines in both films,
and it never is true.
Yeah,
everything that he ever says to them is never true.
Yeah. And he was like, dead, but still fresh. And then he's again saying you can't cheat death, which I mean, that's true.
Yeah. They're the ones that come up with their own, like, try to like conclusions of like, well, this is what he means. This is how we try to save ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah. And he rips out Evan's nipple piercing, which was like,
because they're trying to be like, is there a way to like save us, to like disrupt the plan, to like, survive? And essentially, they kind of lead more or less him to the like, well, something about with new life.
Only new life can defeat death, basically. Exactly. And it can invalidate the list, it invalidates the list, fucks up, puts a rift in death's design. Yeah. And so I was like, does everyone need to get pregnant? Like, what needs to happen?
I don't know.
Because it forces death to start anew is what it says. And it's like a life. It was basically like one life leaves, one life comes, which is like, that's like a common kind of idea.
Yeah.
But,
or a life for a life. I don't know.
But the idea of giving birth, like a new life defeats the system. That doesn't make sense because now you have two people who are alive now when only like one was supposed to be taken away. So another could be
So there should have been
replaced.
0, but now there's still 2.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it's just like,
now we've got a whole nother one. I don't know.
What's going on? Yeah. It didn't make the most sense to me, but that's fine. And so he
knows
saying,
Kimberly's name too.
Yeah, it's true. She was like, how do you know my name? And he was just like,
He ends up being in, I don't remember him being in the 3rd one, but I
don't remember him being in the 3rd one.
He's in
either.
the 4th one for sure.
Okay.
Or the 5th one. He's in the 5th one. That's right. I don't know if he's in the 4th one, The Final Destination. Because that's the one with the NASCAR thing.
Again, I've only seen 1 through 3.
And so
didn't know 4 and 5 existed.
I get the gist that like is a real person, I guess, but not a real person. Like I literally think that Tony Todd is playing death.
Yeah, that's what he's credited as.
Yeah.
He's credited
it's
as death.
Yeah.
So I think I don't think he's real.
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
he's kind of just this like embodiment that comes forth.
Just to them.
Yeah. Because the way he approaches every single time is very mystical, especially in the first one.
Yeah.
It seemed like he just came out of nowhere. And it's very creepy. And then he just kind of, I mean, I know they leave, but
he's always the one like, I'll see you soon. Like he's the
Yes.
one after them. Yeah.
like he knows. And so, especially like too with that, the mask coming and stuff behind him, it did feel like a very physical force was coming after them. And so I feel like it really made sense.
Yeah.
I don't know. But
No,
yes,
I
feel like he's a little spooky spectral encounter. But basically this is where they go to the gas station and we now get a little vision from Kimberly once again, and there's just kind of series of unfortunate events happening and unfolding all around her. Kids smoking, calls him a biatch.
Yeah. It's like a whole mess of things. We do have Clear seeing all these signs around her as Kimberly's having her premonition and kind of freaking out as well. After the boys with the cigarette, there we go. And she sees that there's a white van and she sees someone drowning,
Crashing into a river. Yeah.
And so she immediately thinks that it's the lady Isabella who is pregnant on the road that she saw in her vision. And that's when they instantly start to think, oh, and I love how Officer Burke was just like, are you sure that's what you saw? And she's like, I can taste the water in my
basically taste the
throat.
water in my mouth.
Yeah, I was like, she's sassy. And so then that's when they're already like epiphany. They're like, all right, this pregnant woman, if she has this baby, it will defeat Death's plan. Yeah. So this is what their plan is now. That's how they're gonna throw Death's list out of whack. So they're on their way to Officer Burke's apartment because that's where everyone's gonna meet at. We do have
they had already planned to have this little like meetup session.
Get together, yeah. We do have the dope boy trying to get that elevator.
Doing coke before going into an officer's house.
Oh,
which
yeah.
I was like, what?
I mean, only this guy. And so he ends up getting that elevator and he ends up being so weird to the dude in the elevator.
Yeah, his shoe gets caught in the elevator
Yeah.
at first too, which is a nice little foreshadowing for what's going to happen later.
It's true.
And he kind of can't get his foot out of it, and you kind of think for half a second that he's going to die there. But yeah, whenever he takes off his shoe and then puts it in that man's face and it's like, do you think that's dog poop?
It's gross.
I would have punched that man. I'd be like, what the fuck are you doing? Get that out of my face. Oh, and then he's like, I can get that off. Like he licks his hand. Ew.
It's so weird.
So weird.
That's so weird, which I think he's obviously doing on purpose. I don't know why he gets a kick out of like being weird to people.
Yeah, uncomfortable. I don't know. It was so odd.
But
bizarre.
We all end up being in the same Officer Burke's whatchamacallit. That's whenever we see Nora talking to Kat and she's like, this is too much. She's stressed out. She's like asking if there's a Valium.
Anyone have a Valium?
And Kat has one. She takes the whole thing.
Of course she has it on hand. She's just like, oh yeah, hold on a second. And I was like, bitch.
And even the dude who did coke, he's like, keep them coming. And we do have, once again, Eugene is being skeptical. He's still not believing, but for some reason he came.
Yeah, he did still come.
Yeah, and we have Kimberly passing out phones to everybody, kind of telling everybody like we need to stay in contact with each other. If you see anything, or if I see a sign, like I will let you know what's going on. Yeah,
subway, get to the nearest highway or high rise. Get as far as you like humanly possible away from a subway as you can.
Yep.
And then this is where this chain of events starts happening. Basically, Eugene's like, fuck it, I'm out. He's like going to leave, but his keys break, and then it like falls in this like mousetrap thing, shooting something off that hits this little rope that
it makes a canoe. Like,
Dr.
who
Burke's
stores a canoe up there like that? I don't even know.
I mean, he seemed like a very adventure man. He had like ice picks and shit in his closet and a lot of climbing gear.
That's so true.
So maybe he just didn't have enough space, and he's being
and
use the high ceilings.
Use everything that you can. You pay for it.
Yep.
And it ends up almost like knocking clear out the window, but thankfully she ducks down. I love how she gets like she's like, I should have seen that coming.
Yeah.
And Kat's like, yeah.
And then this is where like they're like, okay, fuck. They start like proofing the house basically. Kat makes that little joke of like, well, Nora has to bite it before me. Like I'm gonna go out for a smoke.
Yeah.
And
then
she's
like, wow, nobody has a sense of humor in here.
But
like, Nora ends up leaving funny. Anyways, because I thought it was really sad though. Cause she's like, I have to go plan a funeral.
She said, my husband died 4 years ago, and now now my son.
This is where I heard her say, now Tim.
Yeah, Tim. Yeah, exactly. And then she says, if it's my time to die, then it's my time. And like,
I want to go to heaven. And
I'm going to be with my family. Yeah. So she's like,
you're going to hell, Nora, because you were a slut. Anyways.
But she goes, leaves, and then Eugene follows basically as well. And then so we also get a little, like they get onto the elevator. I think we maybe get with
the dude with the hooks.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's got a bunch of prosthetic limbs.
That happens first. And then we have Mr. Rory go into the closet, and he ends up trying to put something away, but has all this shit fall because of a bowling ball that was up top. And he like
clearly saw it wasn't safe.
I don't... And so anyways, he ends up falling back, but he does see a little shadow of like the light making a man with some hooks.
And he was like, man with hooks. This looks like a man with the hooks. So they call Nora. And then, of course, she is startled by the phone ringing.
Yeah.
And she like picks it up. And she's like, okay, hey. And they're like, you're going to die. It's with a man with some hooks. And so basically she's like, oh, and before that, the guy smelled her.
Yeah. And Eugene was like, what the fuck? And then
he was like,
it was so weird.
It was disturbing. I was like, that is so fucking creepy. And that is just, ugh.
This elevator attracts weird shit happening to it.
Yeah, made my skin crawl.
And so they end up essentially calling her. And since she freaks out about that, she's freaking out and gets her hair stuck on one of his hooks. It's real funny to me because a lot of things that end up happening to this movie to other people in the movie, it's like people die because of the people that are like, they
warning
make each other die. Yeah, exactly. Like
had they not called her, she probably wouldn't have thought anything about it, got off the elevator.
And that wouldn't have happened. And then just like the pigeons happening. Like if she wouldn't have called out pigeons, maybe he wouldn't have went and ran to the pigeons.
Exactly.
Like, you know, so many things. And so we do have then freaking Nora is like going crazy as she's screaming. They're trying to get her apart off of this guy, and the elevator doors open up. But it's so crazy how like she only takes like a step out and the elevator just shuts in the middle of her neck. Like they don't work like that.
No.
So this was obviously a malfunctioning elevator.
Something is going wildly wrong.
Death.
Because then it starts going right back up, and you know she's struggling. They can't get her hair out of it.
Which it started going up because before. Whenever like they're like hooks, whatever,
they tried to call it.
Claire ran out and she called it up, but then ended up taking the stairs anyways.
Because they were like, "Fuck."
So if she wouldn't have done that, I think maybe it wouldn't even shot back up. Yeah.
Ugh. Yep.
It's all Claire's fault.
They're all killing each other.
They're all killing each other, literally. Yeah.
And so then, we get this. You know, clear. We know. I keep saying clearly. This is clearly a good podcast. By Clear. That's our new literally. But we know what's going to happen. We can see that it's going up. Her head is stuck in the elevator, and eventually it's going to have to keep going up. And it kind of gets stuck on her head a little bit, and then
get a chop of the neck. comes off.
Clean
we get
decapitation.
Kat and Miss Clear on the other side falling with the body, and then we have Eugene and Old Man with the cooks, and they're freaking out with her head.
Her little
And
head.
Mr. Eugene loses his shit, goes into the apartment, takes Officer Burke's gun, and then just like tries to shoot
He's
himself.
like, I'm in charge of my life.
Yeah.
I'm in charge of my life. And I was like, clearly you're not.
Yeah, no.
God damn it.
Then just like clearly and shoots himself, but like it goes off 6 times and none of the bullets work. Then none of them go off. And so even Kimberly's like, you don't keep that thing loaded, and he's like, it's fully loaded, and shows us the rounds. It's got all 6, but none of them went off. And she's like, is that duds? And he's like, no, not all 6.
This is when Clear walks in and she says it wasn't his turn to die.
And Kat's like, can we please find the pregnant lady
now? Yeah, that was really funny.
I really liked how she looked like with the blood all over her.
Yeah,
I thought it was pretty funny.
I liked that part a lot.
And so we do then have them, excuse me, what is the next? The deputy so-and-so has, what's her name, arrested, does he not?
Yeah, they're in a white van as they're driving.
That's true.
Because they start to go try and find her.
Yeah.
And so Isabella?
Yeah, because we did see it earlier at one point. She got pulled over by a cop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now she's in a holding cell. And the cop there, she's behind bars, but he's still wielding a gun at her. He's got a gun pointed into her direction. I was like, what do you think she's going to do? Yeah. But
her water breaks.
While she's in there, her water breaks. And he's like, it was a funny thing because it felt like the most typical male reaction. He was like, you can't do this to me. Like, no, this can't be happening. And it was like, bitch, how the fuck do you think she feels? Her water just broke in jail, and
he can't handle it.
She's yelling as well. She's like, I'm not having my baby in a jail cell. And this was where I said,
he's just a cop.
The Bane thing. But she was like, well, let's take my van. Which was like,
So they end up having to leave because she is not going to have this baby in a jail cell. And so then that's whenever we do have the gang in the car. They're talking, and we're almost connecting the dots here because Eugene ends up bringing up about how he had escaped death at one point. And then we have other people talking about like Officer Burke. He brings up how he escaped death. And we have Rory talking about how he escaped death. And then we also have Kat. But yet, after all of these stories getting brought up, we're mentioning certain names, and we're putting it together that these were all people that were either connected to or did something that made something happen, that
was related to the past movie.
From Flight 180, thank you.
Because, Eugene was basically saying he cheated death by a student, like, killing his teacher, and he was supposed to be that teacher, only he had been transferred 2 days prior. Officer Burke was called to clean up this train wreck thing that had happened, but had the call come 10 seconds later, he would have been killed in a shootout with his partner. His partner had said, no, you go handle that on your own. I'm going to handle this. So Officer Burke went to go clean up as Billy's body, as we later find out, which you can infer at that point that's it's already Billy, because he had said he had to clean up one of the 180 victims. And then Kat said she was supposed to go to a B&B where everyone died in their sleep from this mysterious gas leak. And then they were like, well, why didn't you ever go? And she was like, well, I don't know. The bus I was on just hit some girl. And then that's when Clear was like, was that in Sandy Point or whatever? And she was like, yes, how did you know? And she was like, that bus killed Terry. And so it was like, okay, 2 of them have a connection. And then that's when it
ends up being all of them.
Rory says like the Paris Theater collapse, it killed everyone. And he said he was tripping on acid. And then he was supposed to go to that theater and see a show that night, but then he saw Carter get hit by the sign. And so he was like, nah, I'm not going in there. And then that's when we realized, and Eugene was supposed to have replaced he was replacing Val Lewton. So had he not, had Miss Lewton not died, he wouldn't have ever been there, basically. And then so at this point I was like, so what's Kimmy's connection? And then that's when she explains that she was at the mall with her mom watching the news report of Todd's apparent suicide. And her mom was killed by some people trying to steal her car, basically outside.
And Claire mentions like these were all her friends. That's such a like whenever she was like they were all my friends. That's so sad.
Yeah, because they were just like some girl, and she was
Yeah.
like Terry, and then he was like, saw the sign, whack some dude, and she was like Carter.
Yeah,
And I was like,
Like,
also none of them were your friends except for Alex,
none of
really.
them, really. And even then, that was the whole thing because they'd never even spoken to each other before.
Yeah, you just got close. You trauma bonding.
Yeah. But yeah, they ended up. They all have some form of survivor's kind of guilt as well.
Yeah.
And they, Claire's explaining like they must have created some outward ripple of like how they survived. They ended up affecting all these other people that should have died
Because
So,
had they
not
died in the first place, none of these other events would have happened.
none of these other people would even be alive.
Yeah.
So death is trying to tie up all the loose ends. Dun dun dun. I thought that's really cool. So
Yeah,
they bring in
I
for the
really
sequel,
liked that too. I thought that
It
was
makes
a
sense.
perfect way to bring in,
Mhm.
like, arguably, I'm going based off of my brain as of today, and I don't remember yesterday or most days.
Uh-huh.
I think this is probably one of the best, like, well worked in explanations for a sequel I've ever encountered.
Yeah.
It was so perfectly summed up in the way that they went into it. It was just
Because
a beautiful continuation of a story rather than just, we're just going to do a second one.
Because they have an equation.
They did a really great job.
And it's nice to put it into an equation.
Yeah.
X plus 6 plus Y equals everybody's dead.
Yep. That's
like
fun
it.
math.
Yeah.
I like that math.
And so then we have them driving, and as they're talking about all this shit, they're going so fast.
And that's also why we figure out why it's working backwards.
That's true. Yeah.
Because death is now having to, like, it's gotten to the end of this ripple effect, and now it's going
trying to close in and
trying to get back to the beginning.
to clear.
Yep. Basically.
And so we do have them almost hitting freaking Isabella.
Arguably, when Clear dies, everyone else should have survived and been fine. Which I guess they do.
Well,
No. Who dies after? I mean, she has to go kill herself.
Yeah, and then they think that they live, right? They think like that's fine.
But then it's not because
because they died.
Kid.
And then in the third one, we do see the clippings that they're dead.
Oh, yeah. See, now it's been so long since I've seen the third one. I just remember the deaths. I do not remember the storyline. I remember get on the roller coaster, don't die, and then I remember every death, but I don't remember
in between
any previous like
so it'll be a fresh
mention of the
watch.
stories. Yeah.
And so we do have them almost hitting Isabella in the van as they're speeding, trying to get to the whatchamacallit, the hospital. It causes them to have an accident. It's pretty gnarly. They go into like a field. We almost have we end up like hitting a lot of things and then end up going into a thing of like
very closely avoid
so many deaths. Yeah, multiple times, and then they end up crashing into what are those PVC pipes?
Yeah, because this like log comes through at one point and goes across Kat's lap, who's driving the vehicle.
Yeah,
and so thankfully it just missed all of the like vital. It just slid right in on top, like it was sitting on her lap, and then the PVC pipes. Yeah, they come through. They do eventually. We find out later that they got Eugene, but like this is where we see pregnant lady and that cop. She's like, we gotta go.
Yeah, so
like,
he calls it in,
and that's where he says at mile marker 180, and then
they
just like. Bye bye.
They
leave.
go into the hospital. We do see that Eugene is hurt. He can't breathe. We get him out of the vehicle.
Has like a collapsed lung.
He has a collapsed lung. They're trying to like get help. They end up, the ambulance are starting to get there. Kat can't get out of the car, even though she tries to get the son of these people to help her. She calls him Jethro, so his name is now Jethro. And I
call him Kid.
He's like, there's no gas leak. She tries to get him out, but he can't get it out, and she's like,
because it's like a tree. It's like this isn't just a branch.
He definitely can't get it out. Yeah,
it is at least, I don't know.
It's thick.
It's like
it's thick.
foot and a half in diameter, circumference.
And we do have Jethro almost getting killed. The kid, he almost gets killed. But Dope Boy saves him. He ends up, Rory pushes him out of the way, and he's like, you need to be careful or something like that. He almost died. And so now we're already knowing like that's going to come back to like, because anytime like people who are alive who shouldn't be alive save someone else, it causes a ripple effect.
Yep. And then these reporters are driving crazy because those reporters who almost hit this kid.
Oh yeah, and then
they
end
just
up
back up into this
rock and create a gas leak.
And it looked like their trailer hitch got kind of knocked loose. I was like, how did none of y'all that had
Feel
to
that?
have created a little bit of boom whenever
They gotta
you
get
park.
the story, Caitlin.
I guess,
They
yeah.
don't care.
But of course, it perfectly punctures the gas line, and then there's, because of all the PVC pipe that broke and stuff, it leads this little. We see the gas going
Perfectly going all the way
leading
to
just to
Kat's
them.
vehicle.
Yep.
Yep. And then we do have a little moment between Rory
Kimmy
and
Rory.
Kimmy, and he's just like, if I do die and you're gonna die after me, please go to my apartment and clean up my porn stash, my drugs, and anything that'll make my mom like not proud of me or make her sad. Just kind of like, I guess, a sweet moment. And she's just kind of like,
but also
okay.
when he was like, is it gonna hurt? And I was like, bitch, she's still alive. How the fuck is she gonna know if death is gonna hurt you?
It's
we
like
don't
a
know,
warm
but
hug embracing you.
yeah, I guess so. And
A wet warm hug.
ew.
Uh-huh.
And then we flash back to Kat, who's smoking in the vehicle.
She is.
Of course, because why would you smoke in a fucking crashed vehicle? But she's like sitting there giving the guys who are using like the jaws of life.
Oh yeah, trying to save her life.
On
She's giving
her.
them some flack. She's like, can you put that on quieter? Can you do that quietly?
And he's like, oh yeah, I'll put it on quiet mode.
He ends up killing her.
He does, because the jaws of life set off the airbag, which then, as we know, the PVC pipe had just impaled through her seat, and she thankfully, because of the
Narrowly
accident,
missed it.
her head went forward.
Yeah.
And thankfully no airbag went off then somehow.
Yeah.
But she didn't get stabbed, but then when the airbag went off, it...
Which they really should have removed that pipe first before doing that. But
knowing that
it's
that
a
could
movie.
happen. That's
it's
right.
a movie. And so we then have everybody seeing Kat get killed. It's pretty crazy. And then she drops her cigarette. Cigarettes are killers. It ends up rolling and then catching on fire on that little line. And then boom, we have an explosion. We have this barbed wire fence getting tossed in the air, and it kills Rory. Just like slices him up. And it's not the best.
Trifolds him
Mm-hmm.
right, like...
Very, what's that movie called with the zombies? Apocalypse Evil Apocalypse? Resident Evil.
Resident Evil.
My bad.
I was
Resident
like, zombie.
Evil.
There's so many...
Zombieland.
So many movies that have the word evil in it that...
Train to Busan.
Yeah, Train to Busan's so good.
Bloop, bloop.
And Gong Woo's in it. And
And
what
so
a man.
we do have Kimberly having another premonition again. And at this point, she sees someone driving, right?
But at this point, she sees...
Oh, the doctor. My bad. Kalarjian. Dr. Kalarjian.
She was like, I saw a name tag and I
She
was being
choking
choked.
me.
And so she was like, I think Dr. Kalarjian is going to try to kill Isabella. So
Which,
they're like, we have to get to
why?
the doctor's office right now.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't imagine that unless there was some like deep-seated, like this woman cheated. Isabella's pregnant with her husband's
I have
child
no idea
or something. And that's why Kalarjian's going to kill her.
They end up leaving. They end up going to the hospital. We do see that Eugene is on like a respirator. He's watching the news about what's happening right now with, how Kat died. And we see deaths after him because all the little vents start closing in the room. We see things happening that are kind of alluding to
all
technical
the little pipes
malfunction.
are kind of busting off, or tubes. And then his wheels become unlocked. So, and I guess this hospital is built at an incredible slant because his bed just starts slowly pulling away from the wall.
That's death
and
for you.
unplugging everything.
Yeah.
And it's just,
So we do have all of that happening. They finally get to the hospital. They split up. Claire's going to go look for Eugene. We have Kimberly and Officer Burke going to look for Dr. Kalarjian. They're running around. There's a lot of commotion. We do see that through all this, Isabella's in labor and the baby's having a hard time coming out. His umbilical cord is wrapped around his neck. He's having a hard time breathing.
And that's why they
it's a lot
call
of
for Dr.
stress.
Kalarjian,
Yes.
because they've got a code blue and they need an emergency C-section.
And so we do have finally, Officer Burke runs into Dr. Kalarjian. It's the way he like pumps her up against the wall without any damn, bro, chill.
She's just a doctor. She's like, I'm kind of fucking busy.
Innocent until proven guilty, right?
Yeah.
And so they finally get in there, and it's the way that like even the doctors are just like, what the fuck are y'all doing in here? Yeah, because they're just like,
Kimberly busts in and she was like,
I gotta make sure that the baby's okay. Isabella, is the baby okay?
And she's like, who the fuck is this?
Yeah.
Isabella don't even know.
No, she hasn't had anything to do with them at all. all the whole time.
She's not thought about that accident one day since. She's just been like,
Literally.
I got deliveries to make and babies to give.
For real. And so that's whenever the baby is born, and it's a beautiful baby boy. And we have her and Officer Burke leaping for joy. And even Isabella at that point finally is just like, who the fuck are they?
Yeah.
And
Eugene's emergency backup battery pumps on.
Yeah. Which
so
is
now
the biggest fake out.
Yeah.
Like,
emergency battery. All of a sudden, after all of that other shit happened, it's like,
Death was like, all right, I guess
I'll give you this one.
for 5 minutes.
Yep.
Yeah. Psych.
It was the way they immediately were like, oh, we're saved.
And then immediately 2 minutes after, when they get back to clear, they're like, she's having another "That's So Raven" moment.
Yes.
And she's like, oh shit.
Because then she is seeing
that Isabella was never even a part of the accident.
She was like,
she never died.
No. And then she basically sees another premonition of the lake, and she's just, because Clear was like, think back. And she sees that the bloody hands.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, at that point, those are your hands.
Yeah, those are hers.
It was pretty obvious.
But then also, like, Death be fucking with her, because the way that she had all these premonitions about things in the future, right? But then all of a sudden she had that little flashback of like something that had already happened, and then Isabella wasn't a part of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's just like...
Then is like, oh, she sees Isabella gets out of the car and was like, fine, and was like, looking at everyone.
Yeah.
And overlooking the wreckage. And so then she's like, uh-oh. But the
bloody hands and all that starts happening.
Point, yeah.
And at this point, they're thinking like only new life defeats death. And she's trying to like equation it out in her head, but not before Clear can go off to go try to save Eugene. But
because once they figure out Isabella was never supposed to be in it, she's like, well, okay, well then Eugene's still in trouble.
Yeah. So she goes to him, opens the door. But as soon as she opens the door,
everything blows.
That was a great sound effect.
Thank you.
Yeah. And yeah, it blows. It blows like nothing ever before.
Smithereens.
Literally.
Clear's face gets turned into a burnt marshmallow. Bye-bye.
And her body gets flung across the floor. It's right in front of Miss Kimberly and Officer Burke.
And then now, of course, Kimberly's hands are bloodied just exactly.
Like her vision.
Yep. And then she realizes,
I know what I have to do.
I have to die.
Yeah.
She basically needs to be resuscitated. And then and at that point, I was like,
I don't know. I don't think it's going to work. Yeah, literally.
Yeah, because Alex pulse stopped.
And then ended up coming back to life. And then
it was still after him.
Nope.
So I was like, I don't know.
Yeah. So she ends up getting in the van, the ambulance. Officer Burke can't get to her because Death is intervening, and she crashes into the lake. She's trying to drown herself.
Oh, and she kissed his cheek before she got in, which I was like, that's weird.
Yeah.
I don't know.
She tries to drown herself, but Officer Burke comes in to save her and gets her, I guess, just in the nick of time, because we do have her.
Man, he was running so good, and his little dive was like
professional.
Looked professional. Yeah, I was like, damn, this man's like prepped. Yeah, the Navy SEALs.
An adventurer, remember?
That's true. Oh, that's true. Yeah, he was ready for that.
Shit.
Oh, he was primed. And then whenever he gets down there, she was remarkably calm. I thought
for someone who's drowning.
Yeah, because she was kind of like letting air go out of her mouth, but it never once looked like she was breathing in water, which, you would be convulsing because it burns.
Yeah.
And she just kind of like her eyes very peacefully rolled back. And I was like, I don't know if it works that way. It's fine. Movie
because
magic.
She chose to, because it was the sacrifice.
I think your body still has some
that counts.
Natural reaction.
And so she ends up getting saved. She comes out. We do have her being saved by Dr. Collagen. She comes to. She looks horrible. She looks fucked up. She looks drenched like a rat.
But then like her boobs and her bra and stuff still looked really nice.
I didn't look at that at all.
Oh.
I was
like
just looking at her face and her hair.
I mean, it was like a nude bra, but it still looked, I was like,
Officer Burke looked good.
Yeah, he did. I know. Whenever he leaned over her, I was like, okay, he is Deputy Daddy. And then she immediately like starts talking to him, and I was like, I don't think that's possible
and
either.
He's just
after
like,
you've just been resuscitated.
Because of you, we've cheated death. Like, the fuck you did not.
And then all of a sudden the whole hospital room is filled with this warm glow.
Whimsy.
That feels very problematic. It reminds me of the ending of Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
With that just like hazy warm glow that feels
like
not,
a dreamy state almost. Yeah.
It's not safe. I didn't trust it. The moment it filled in, I was like, and then
it opens up to a beautiful summer day
at the Gibbon place
with the barbecue.
Yep. And so I thought that was so weird.
Yeah,
that
it was a weird transition.
Family was like,
and
here, come eat barbecue with us. You crashed on our property.
They got close with them. Yeah.
What?
Trauma bonding.
Yep. And everything was still that orange glow.
And they're talking to each other. And that's whenever we do have the son
saying how Rory had saved him that day. And the mom was like, you never told me that. And then we get this kind of knowing look between Kimberly and Officer Burke. And then someone says, oh, you better go tend to that
the grill.
Fire pit grill. Yeah. And so little boy's like, do.
Boom. There we go.
Yep.
We get an explosion, and then we get an arm landing on the table.
On his mom's plate.
Just freaking out. And
I was laughing so
That's funny.
I was like, what the fuck?
It's really comedic ending.
It was a good. I was laughing and couldn't really take it seriously, but I still thought it was a fun ending.
Yeah.
I don't think it was as good. I mean, the ending of the first one was also comical because then Carter's saying, well, then who's next? And it was like,
bam,
you bitch.
I think they try to leave it on like a big
this isn't over
shock
yet.
factor moment.
Yeah. And I mean, an arm, your son's arm getting blown onto a plate in front of you is
barbecued.
Pretty shocking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I'd say.
I think they nailed that. But yeah, that's 2003's Final Destination 2. Good. What are your boos?
My boos are a 4.
4?
Yeah.
I thought this was your favorite one.
It is. I'm gonna give it a 4. Should I give it more?
You gave the other one a 4.5.
No, I gave the other one a 3.5.
Did we?
Yeah, it was 3.5.
No, I think we gave Urban Legends 3.5. I think we gave Final Destination a solid 4.5 from both of us.
Was it?
Yeah.
I don't even remember.
I would wager money that I don't have.
Well, then I guess it deserves a 5.
Okay.
I really liked it.
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
Why was it your favorite?
I think because it's the most like the car accident scene, like the road scene one. I feel like it's the most memorable out of all of them.
Yeah. It's very relatable.
I feel like everybody remembers that. Excuse me. And then it is relatable, and it's the one that stuck with most for me. Mm-hmm. It's when I think of like the deaths and stuff, like it's the one where I feel like I just remember them all more than the other ones for some reason. Maybe because I'd seen it more.
This is your 3 for me.
And I guess it was also the first one I watched. I don't know. But yeah, I just liked it. I like the whole vibe. I like how in this one we don't see like a whole shadowy figure like we did in the first one.
Yeah.
I feel like that was a great correction to make. And yeah, although now watching it, like I said, like none of it made sense of them trying to like defeat death. They're just dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But again, like I said, that tie-in was a really wonderful
and that's why even watching it now
for a second film,
it made me appreciate that more because I never really paid attention so much to that, I guess, before.
Yeah. Why would you?
Yeah. Now we're analyzing it.
Yeah. I do think I would give this one a 4.
Okay.
As your original score was.
You.
I do think I personally liked the first one better.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, I did like a lot of the deaths.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I will say the log scene stuck with me way more than
like the airplane, right?
Airplane.
Yeah.
And like I said, to this day, anytime I drive behind
something,
a
same
truck with logs on it or the cement things or a little truck with twigs in them, anything, I'm like, oh, that's furniture.
We're not staying behind it.
Yep. No, we're getting away from that as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Because I don't trust it.
No, I feel the same way.
Yeah. And so that has stuck with me quite a bit. And 4's still a very deserving score.
Oh, yeah.
It's still a great score. And then, like I said, that tie-in for a second film, most of the time, especially with horror films,
it's not that
the great. Second film is always like, oh, we're just trying to get
cash
some
grab.
More money. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And this one actually had a good continuation of the story, and they tied it in well. Were all of the things perfect? No. But if you're not paying attention to that, like, it's a solid story. Perfectly great story.
Horror movie.
Yeah. You're watching it. It's enjoyable. It's shorter than the first one by like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But it's still shorter and very easy to get through.
It's digestible.
It is a little bit more gory.
Just a little bit.
You get a little bit more blood.
Especially Nora's death, I feel like. And then the officer going through the eye. All of them. Yeah.
I mean, Rory's death. Like, you get to see they're more creative.
Yeah.
I would say. And you actually get to see the body like split. Like, we didn't see Terry's death. We saw the blood hit the
I gotcha.
Bystander.
We didn't see all the details,
but we didn't
of,
see
like,
her
how
get
their
mushed.
deaths happened, or like Carter, like it was just black screen. Like, we didn't see like.
Yeah. You don't see their, like, with Rory, we saw, now again, this wasn't my favorite part, but we saw his intestines like kind of like fall out of his body, which was cool. But and so
more gory though. You're
very
right.
good movie.
Not more blood.
I am so excited to go back and watch the third one and see how it actually does hold up now. It does have, like, you know, this was your nostalgic. It has like a sense of nostalgia for you. It is special. It's the first one you saw. I do believe the third one probably was the first one I saw. And then I was like,
the first,
I want to go watch all these other ones now. The third one came out in like
06, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. And then I was like, I want to know what these other ones are.
That's crazy.
And went back and rewatched those. And so the third one and again, that choose your own ending was really fun. So
that's what did it for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. I love
immersive.
the Magic Treehouse books. I love when I get to control things.
Have like a more in-depth experience with it as opposed to just watching a movie.
Exactly. So it is fun. So I'm very excited to go back and cover that one next week. Yay.
Yes.
But as always,
we're in the lovely Rogue Media Network studios.
That's right. They take great care of us. And you can listen to us and all the other wonderful podcasts that they host at one central place.
RogueMediaNetwork.com.
That's right. And if you want to listen to them or us, you can find us on a bunch of different podcasting platforms, the biggest two being
Spotify
and Apple. If you want to let us know how you felt about Final Destination 2, which of the whole series is your favorite, stuff like that, give us a reason and for covering 4 and 5, because we really do only plan to go through 3 at the moment.
Yeah, that's true.
If you want to give us your reason.
Although 5 does put a good twist on it, I feel like
we'll need to cover them eventually. Just maybe not all 5 right now. But if you want to give us a solid argument as to why, you can reach out to us on our one social media platform, and that is Instagram at
Boobaes Podcast, BOOBAES Podcast, because we're your boobaes, not your boobabes.
That's right. And I won't jump in this time.
It's a lot of manic energy, sorry.
But yeah, until next time, you guys.
Bye, baes.
Bye, baes.
This has been a Rogue Media Network production.